Michael Grimm is a Republican from New York. He's a member of that committee, and he joins us now from the Capitol. Congressman, thanks so much for joining us. What is your first question?
Well, the first question for the chairman is, what is the overall exit strategy? Putting in context that we've already increased the balance sheet of the Fed by $2 trillion over the last 5 years. But a lot of that is not what the Fed has done traditionally. Normally, the Fed buys a lot of the short-term T-bills. We're now having a Fed that is buying the longer-term debt, and as interest rates eventually rise, what is their exit strategy? We still don't know what that is, and I think that's extremely dangerous for the U.S. economy.
No, absolutely, and a lot has been made of that lately, sort of when you get out and we see the market turn against the Fed, of course, as everybody sort of realizes that they're getting out. A lot of estimates say that they could be on the hook for about $500 billion. That leaves taxpayers on the hook. I mean, does that concern you?
Well, that's a huge concern, but let's go a step further. Do you realize that as interest rates rise and they have all this long-term debt instruments on their balance sheet, they can't sell it at some point? You know, you realize they could start losing money. And once they reach a point where they can't sell those debt instruments, well, now they are no longer in a position to fulfill their main mission, which is affecting monetary policy. So it would actually neuter the Fed and hamstring them from accomplishing their mission. And if there is a slight run on the bond market, we're done. All these discussions of sequestration, all these other things, all irrelevant if there's a slight run on the bond market and the Fed is not in a position to affect monetary policy or to come in and try to shore up that bond market, then everything we're talking about on Capitol Hill is irrelevant, because the economy is going to be so crushed that austerity measures are going to look good to the United States.
So, I mean, that's really interesting. Would that be your question tomorrow? Because I would love to hear the answer to that. I mean, if you specifically said what happens if the market turns against you and you can't exit, is that a realistic possibility? And what would you do in that case? I mean, I would bet that he would say, that's not a realistic possibility. That wouldn't happen. I don't know. Are you going to ask that specifically? What do you think he's going to say?
That's exactly what I'm going to ask, and I'd have to disagree with the chairman. It's an extremely realistic possibility. Look, interest rates are at all-time lows because we have been printing money, right? That's where the $2 trillion comes from, QE3. So we print money, we buy all these long-term debt instruments, and it keeps pressure to keep the interest rates low. You can only do that for so long, and everyone knows that, including the chairman. As these interest rates rise, and they are stuck in these positions and can't sell, they really can't affect monetary policy the way they're supposed to. And I don't know how the chairman is going to answer this question, because I know deep down he has to be extremely concerned about this. This is the whole ballgame. This is really the heart of our economy, and we are teeter-tottering on a very, very dangerous area right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you comfortable with the fact, of course the Fed said back at the December meeting that now they've decided they're going to target unemployment, that they're going to keep monetary policy loose and where it is until we see unemployment fall below 6.5%. I mean, that's uncharted territory for the Fed to say that they're targeting that. Are you comfortable with that?
No, but I think if historically anyone here that's listening that's ever looked at projections that the Fed has put out, again, historically, they've never been right. They've never even been close to the mark. So I think it's a very unrealistic goal. And again, most of the time, what they've been doing historically to deal with unemployment is, again, the shorter-term T-bills that has the most immediate effect on the economy. They're barely doing that now because they're focusing on, well, one, because interest rates are so low they don't need to.
Right.
So again, I just don't think that their own policies have kind of put them in a position where their back is to the wall and they don't have as many tools in their toolbox. And as interest rates rise, they're going to have less and less to a point where they become ineffective.
Yeah.
And that is a calamity. There's no question about it. And then you add the sequester situation, and it's a big problem.
Congressman, I look forward to your turn tomorrow. I'm going to be sitting by with popcorn, listening, waiting for that answer. Thanks for giving us a preview. We appreciate it.